Right, welcome everyone. This is episode 49. I am finally back after my summer vacation of the Contextual Podcast. Tonight we're joined by three guests, but as you can probably see, there's only two here because Brian likes to make a late entrance, being the transatlantic Pes fan that he is. And I've got two good people on tonight. I've got Pes Monkey and Alan as well from WMB. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, not too bad, Chris.
Oh, sorry, should I say Pes Casual, actually, Alan? Apologies. But yeah, we've been trying to get this set up for weeks, haven't we? So it's been hectic, but it's probably a good time to do it because the demo's out now. You guys have played the game before the demo. So I'm going to leave it in your capable hands to start of it. So just wanted your ideas on what you played. If you can, I know it's only been a short window. What's the comparison between what you played at Glasgow to the demo, or if there is any change? So, go for you first if you want, Alan.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly on the event, it was a different build in so much that we had full flexibility with regards to time. So, you know, we weren't restricted to the 5-minute matches against AI, for example. So I think both me and Pes Monkey were able to get a few games in each against the AI as well. So that was interesting. I'm a little bit disappointed, if I'm being honest with you. I think the 5 minutes option VAI for the public demo is a wee bit of a misstep. Even 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. It's just something to give people a little bit of a better taste of a match. It just rushes by so quickly. But with regards to the day, I think it was generally it was a positive experience. You know, I went in with an open mind, but probably managing expectations. I wasn't expecting a reinvention of the wheel this year. I think for all that people will have their issues with PES 2018, I had a lot of fun with PES 2018. A lot of it was to do with some of the innovations in the dribbling and things like that. I was just expecting that kind of core that was put in place with PES 2018 to still exist. But as people have maybe evidenced themselves, I was taken aback by the pace of the game, ball physics, shooting. It's an iteration upon last year. And personally, you know, being the type that I did manage my expectations like that, I was satisfied. As is always the case with PES, I go into it and sometimes things can be a little bit jarring to me. Sometimes even in managing those expectations, I'm hoping for some animation orgasm, do you know what I mean, to overcome me. Yeah. Just like, wow. And it wasn't quite there immediately. Yeah. But just through prolonged play, it's like, wait a minute, there is noticeable differences in the gameplay, but things like animations have been worked on. It's not perfect. With regards to the games that me and Pes Monkey played against each other, nice low scoring affairs. So what I will say is with regards to local competitive play, it was on point there, I felt. Yeah. And certainly against the AI in those longer matches in that build, I just felt as though I think I could have a lot of fun with this game this year. I don't know what your own take on that is, Pes Monkey, if it echoes the same as myself, but it was a good day though, wasn't it? It was good to meet folk as well, I have to say.
I've been away, so I've only played the demo sort of late last night for a couple of hours, and then a couple of hours today. I've had a few games on it. I've tried online matches today as well. Like yourself, Alan, with a 5-minute limitation on the demo, it's hard to judge directly whether there's any sort of real, you know, big changes. I think it's pretty much what we played. I think Asim over my shoulder said it was pretty much 90%. What we played in Glasgow was going to be what the demo was. The day in Glasgow, I thought, the games we had, they were really tactical. We both sort of approached the game in a similar sort of way. We play, you know, kind of realistically, and I think that's where the game shines. And those matches that we had, you know, were kind of, they were both of us trying to test each other out, weren't they? And sort of really sort of approaching the game tactically rather than just, right, okay, pick up the controller, play it like a video game. That's how I'm going to approach it when the full game comes out. So for me, it's moved on again. There's been definite progress, and we'll get into all the ins and outs of where we sort of see where the progress has been made. But overall, I was impressed on the day, and I mean I'm seriously impressed, with the demo as well. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh, that's really good. Now obviously I've never been to one of these proper days. Like I say, I've played days where we've played the game early and stuff. I know a lot of the PES Universe guys are there. I know Bibby, who's been on here, he's sort of like works with Graham Day now, doesn't he? He was there and that. Did them guys get to play it as well? Because obviously I know Daniel Henry was there, so obviously I know he enjoyed it and stuff. What sort of fan base were there? Was the YouTubers there, or was it just predominantly PES players, or was there they usually try and get FIFA players there, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, there was. You had Seppo there. You had a couple of the kind of old schoolers for up here. So that was shout out to Marco and also Chris. They were there. Yeah. So they go from way back. They're like kind of PS2 level when they used to play competitions there. So they were at the event. Bibby was there. Cracking guy, by the way. Lovely guy.
Yeah, he's a City fan, but he's a good guy. But yeah.
Yeah. I think Shogun was there as well.
Yep.
And just probably a few others there whose names have unfortunately escaped me, and I do apologise. But there was a nice variety of folks there. Folks who, and someone like Seppo, everybody will know. He's very much a My Club focused player, and he's actually a good resource, by the way, for hints and tips just generally with regards to gameplay. Seems to, he knows his stuff. I noted as well that some of the True Brits videos that he's been putting up with some of the stuff that Seppo had given him over, and he has actually said, I was using pass support too. And I think that seems to be a PES League standard and stuff like that. So, people have been able to get to see what that's like as well. Having a wee look at the screens around me, just in between games, just taking a wee bit of time out. But what I will say is, and it kind of follows on from what PES Monkey was saying there, I mean, we and it's something I'll touch on when we get into a more general conversation about the demo. We like to bring the camera down, so we like to lower it and maybe even bring it in a little bit, and it lends itself, it gives it a more congested feel. So that's what kind of lent us to be able to play that kind of tactical game.
Yeah.
Looking elsewhere, I did see kind of that higher tempo, and it wasn't a general thing. It was there sometimes. It was there, in some matches, and it wasn't there in others. So the takeaway I was, just at the event, it's like, there's flexibility here, certainly just on the face of it. You know what I mean? I mean, this is going to it could take a week, it could take, ideally you always want it to be taking months, but it just seems as though this game looks as though there's just a greater flexibility to how you can play the game than maybe was evident in PES 2018. I do like to play a tactical game. I do like to play a slower game. Certainly against AI, it's a kind of... everybody plays the game differently. At times with PES 2018, I felt as though I'm just doing this because it looks the way I want it to look, as opposed to feeling forced. Whereas I feel this year, certainly with regards to both the day and the demo, I'm thinking, no, actually, when I do slow it down, the AI is responsive to that. And it's just the big takeaway is we've got a wee bit of flexibility there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's good. No, it's good. I think as well, like I've played on Xbox. I've not downloaded it on my PS4 yet, and I've played it on PC because I'm really keen to get it on PC this year because I've finally got a gaming PC. The wife treated me early for me 40th, even though it's not till November. I convinced her to get it me early. So I've been loving the PC, even though I hate keyboard and mouse. So like the PES stuff, it's great because my controller just links up straight away. It's just like playing it. And obviously I know they're all in 4K now and everything. So, but what I like is the modding stuff. So I think what I found interesting is I've got rid of the passing assistance and actually gone full manual on the passing, which I've done in the past, but shooting I'm absolutely atrocious at. So I tried it online, but I do agree with both. Yeah, it's the first time, I'm not just saying it because you're both on it, it's the first time I can honestly say that I'm actually confident that it's a game I'm going to be able to play for a good few months afterwards. I really do. There's a few issues I've got, which I know we'll probably get on with the keepers and stuff, but the fact that when I was playing online with a manual player and it wasn't an assisted player, when I've tried it in the past, the ranking system's just terrible because I only play online really. So like these days, all I want to do it's just play against human opposition.
Yeah,
so
I'm about 60-70% online, and then about 30% offline. So I'm with you. I like to test myself against another human opponent. Rather than the AI. So that's sort of like my focus for it going into it. And then if the AI side of it's decent, I'll sort of start a Master League and do that. But it's mostly sort of online that I've been playing the last 6 months. Even with 2018, it's just been online, quick matches, really just to chill out, have a few beers and play the game. Like what Alan was saying there about different approaches, it does kind of lend itself to how you want to approach the game. So it's multi-layered in a way, I think, which is good. I mean, you still get guys online who on the demo trying to sprint everywhere. I've played a few games today online just to test it, and by 65 minutes, their teams were up. With the new fatigue system, I played one guy, and all he did was sprint. It's 60 minutes. He was knackered. I beat him 5-0. So I think there's going to be a bit of a learning curve with a game online, with people who've not played it before, or are not aware of all the sort of ins and outs of the new fatigue system and everything else, and how different the mechanics are this year compared to 2018. You could play 2018 online last year, and you could sprint from start to finish if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And that sort of just that ground you down a little bit. You'd get a few games where you'd play somebody and it was quite a nice experience, and then the next 8 matches it would just be trying to counter this like sprint fest. And I think this year for me the focus has been each year they've tried to minimise the way the game can be exploitable online. And it takes time. They're not going to. I don't think it's possible to sort of do that in a 12-month cycle where they can just change the game completely. I think it's been slow little changes, and not to say early doors yet, but the games I've played online, you did feel that it was really, really difficult to exploit it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Guys were trying and sort of, not getting anywhere with it. I've not lost. I've played about 20 matches today online, not lost a single game.
We need to co-op together then. I think.
Check me out.
But no, I mean, I don't mean to be I don't want to sound like a, you know what I mean?
yeah, but you are. It's like, no.
It's all right, mate.
You know what I mean? No, Alan, it's like the way you approach it, the way we approach it on the day, it really works this year. I've always been that thing where try and approach the game realistically, you can play it realistically, and I've always banged on about that. But you could pick up 2018 and you could abuse the hell out of it, couldn't you? Really, if eventually guys find a way and learn a way to exploit the game, whether it's pressuring you all over the place, they find the mechanics in the game where if they just move in a certain direction when you receive the ball, it's an easy interception or an easy tackle, that kind of thing. That seems to be guys. You could tell guys were trying it today, and it wasn't. Whether that learning curve will, be steep or over the first few weeks, guys figure it out and sort of, they start to get the exploits into it. Only time will tell. But the initial feeling I've got, and I played a lot online last year, so I can sort of judge, off what I've experienced. I think it's a big plus that looks to be something they're definitely trying to make a focus of getting out of the game, because online's the focus, isn't it? Whether we agree with that or not, I mean, the games are moving into the online space, aren't they? So I think that's where they're trying to put all the resources into getting the AI in the game online right. And then hopefully it can trickle down into offline play. But definitely exploits, guys spamming it. I think they're going to have a really hard time this year.
Good. Good, because I hate people online who ruin. I've played PES Online since PES 5. So when the 360 came out, I still played the original Xbox. I never played online in footy games. It was always 4-player co-op at my house, tournaments, stuff like that, at my brother's house. Then I got a PS2, got my PS2 online as well. So I was playing PES 5 on both of them. So PS2, Xbox. And I think I played like 1,500 games on the Xbox version. But it used to be like the first half, one of you was hosting. And the second half, the other one was. So if whoever's in the second half, if you were dishonest, you could lag the game out. So even if you're winning 4-0 at half time, you had some cracking games. Obviously, connections weren't there in 2005 and 2006, but it put me off with PES because all I want to do is play online. I want to play against friends. I've had tournaments where I've joined just PES related tournament sites. So even that, and playing it from what I've played so far, I have no reason to doubt that that you aren't wrong, because it does feel as if I can finally absolutely play football. And that's what frustrates me, PES. It's not far off being... It's always going to be better than FIFA for everything it does right. It's just the things it does wrong frustrate me so much. And I'm hoping this year that I'm not going to be sat here getting to episode 50 of my podcast and being a hard ass and fucking moaning all day, because it's only got me so far. I've had to start talking about other things because PES was frustrating me. So what about yourself, Alan?
How much have you played on the demo then, Chris?
I've probably played about 20 hours so far across Xbox and PC, I'd say, roughly. So a good few games, and I've enjoyed it. And the good thing is, Pez Monkey, that luckily the defeats don't show. I haven't been as lucky as you. So I think my first 3 games I lost, and then I had a draw, and then I've won a few, and I've actually won more on PC, which I find quite interesting. I don't know why, but it was just, I did see the ping pong stuff at certain points, because you get that 1-2 thing where the 1-2s are too easy, and then your defender steps out, leaving the space behind, and then Griezmann's always there for the little slotting goals. But obviously, there's loads I want to talk about that. But I can still see the same stuff I've seen for a long time. Only time will tell. And I'm hoping some of my friends will buy PES this year, and I'm trying to convince them, because once I've got friends who'll play it, or like yourselves have got it or whatever, then I'm happy, because I know it's going to be... I've played Daniel Henry a few times on Xbox, and we've had some great games, which I think I was like 3-1 up or 2-1 up in games when we played last time. But it's not a lot of games, really, but it's someone you can talk to who plays the game properly, so you don't mind that. And Steve, did the podcast with me, he used to play all the time, but he's gone back to FIFA because he's just been disillusioned with PES last year.
Yeah. Ooh. I think certainly with regards to online, and I think we touched on this briefly before we went live. I think PES is going to be one of these games whereby it will be just kind of getting out there and maybe finding that little sub community like you were talking about, Chris. Joining sites and stuff like that, and that's where the flexibility, which seems apparent in the game, could really shine, because then you can go into these sub-communities, and when it comes to online play, you can find your numbers, and you're like that, well, I can have a great experience with this game. That won't mean that the game is perfect, it just means it can cater for you. And I think last year it really demanded it. I just, I played tons of my club last year. And it was a crapshoot. It was just like, I hope I've got against a like-minded player. When you went to 4 or 5-star strength teams, it's like, I'm going to get anything here. I don't know what kind of experience I'm going to get. Yeah. And it could be very samey. But when you went down to 3-star, 2-star, that's maybe when the kind of frequency of decent matches would increase slightly. Like you say, the matchmaking's a bit of an issue. Although I know I'm going to give a wee shout out to my mate, Pez Shaw. He's got his own wee YouTube channel on the go. Very much into his Eastern Bloc stuff and all that. He was kind of... God, I lost my train of thought there, guys. Sorry.
Don't worry,
what was I saying there?
Pez Shaw's YouTube channel, is it?
Yeah. Try to think what he was saying, but... sorry, I'm going to go somewhere else with this. But it is. It got to a point where me and him, actually, I think that's where I was going with this. We started playing friendly matches with 1 and 2-star teams that were kind of leveling up. Yeah. And it was just a great experience going, what, we found a wee tiny niche with this game that we can have loads of fun in. But But again, it was very much about trying to find that, whether it be an individual or a group. And, you really had to dig that out to get what you wanted, I felt, for a consistent online experience. Now, I've got no doubt, I'll be honest with you, I've got no doubt there will be some form of exploit or some form of game, some form of player who you just won't be able to stand, and it might become, again, it might err on that becoming a little bit more free, rule as opposed to exception. Just as long as it drops a considerable bit from the experience last year, I'll be not fully satisfied, but I'll be more satisfied. So yeah, I know. Just again on the online side of it, just to touch on one match I did play online last night. I played against somebody who stuck 5 up front, and I murdered them. And it was one of these things where it's like I've noted, and we'll probably come onto this a little bit later in general. When we go a little bit deeper, but I've noted that there's been, I'm no longer on Evo Web, but I'll still do a wee bit of lurk of different PES conversations, and I've noted people saying it's so fucking annoying when they're doing that, and it's like, seriously, at the end of the day, there's just things you cannot control with these games, whether it's PES or FIFA. So if somebody's going to stick 5 up front, it can be a ball ache to play against when they're attacking. But what I found is last night, I was just picking the guy off. Do you know what I mean? He was just going all in. He was France, Mbappe, Griezmann, just loading it all up front. And he was able to get a wee bit of joy against me when he was attacking. I could feel the pressure building, but he was playing with 2 centre backs and just trying to make sure his left midfielders always had them set to wing back. But it was so easy to exploit, and I was like, this is great, because maybe people that keep doing that will just eventually just experience defeat after defeat after defeat, and they just have to make that adjustment. Back to my mate Pes Shaw. Sorry, just quickly, just back to my mate Pes Shaw. He's actually got a video up. He was experimenting with the 3 at the back. He used that more or less exclusively in PES 2018 online. So he's done a wee bit of comparison, and it's actually quite a handy video just for that kind of set tactic and stuff. And he played a game, and I think it ended in a draw, but he was even just making the observations going, it's actually pretty good how the 3 at the back seem to be working this year with the subtle, with some of the changes they've made to the AI. But sorry, I've rambled on quite a long while there, but sorry, but I just wanted to touch on that.
No, it's great. Sorry, Pes, what were you going to say?
No, just like, do you think guys will adjust how they approach the game, or how they sort of play it online if they're not getting any joy with that? Do you think they'll realise that the changes enough in the game where they can't just do what they did last year? The games I've had, the tough games I've had, and there's been 1 or 2, it's been against almost kind of like-minded players who were playing it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say the game's slow, because it's not. It's slow when it needs to be, and then you can pick up the pace when you need to. You know what I mean? When you say it's a slow-paced game, it's you can sort of give the impression that they've slowed it down artificially. But it's not like that. You can slow the game down and then pick up the pace when you need to. And the really tough games I've had is against guys who've played like that. The guys who just like running all over the place, it's been easy. But they were the types of players who I think have come over from playing 2018, playing this maybe for the first time, and sort of trying to do the same thing. I think we sort of in Glasgow, it was a little bit like we kept making comments. Oh, you can do that in 2018, but you can't do that in this. And it took us a few games, didn't it, Alan, to sort of get our way into it, and how the game was really different. I know it's sort of something that people say every year, but I think this year it does feel really different. It does to me, anyway. I mean, that's how I've noticed it just playing guys online. It's easy meat to pick them off when they play like they did last year.
No, I agree. I look at, I've been one of the harshest critics of the game. That's what born the actual name of the podcast, because Contextual was always synonymous with Pro Evo, because there was a lot of contextual stuff that happened in game that you used to love, that just you didn't have to press a button like you would in, say, FIFA and stuff. For me, I totally agree. I always feel with PES, or even when you can watch the PES finals, like the online stuff, the esports events and FIFA, and it's absolutely atrocious to watch. It's just both games, just an absolute fest of triangle through balls, or Y if you're on Xbox or whatever. Just an absolute joke, because the passes are so automated. They're on passing assistance 3. I would love to watch that. I know I'm going off on a tangent slide. I would love to watch these esports stuff and it be like watching a proper game, like I've just watched like City sort of destroy Arsenal, but these points there where Arsenal could have come back into it because it's about the tactics. You see these big two games here, Real Madrid via Barca, when it's 0-0, and then Messi or Ronaldo would unlock that game because of a mistake. Do you know what I mean? It's like in PES in the past, to me personally, online, especially not offline but online, it's felt like you're playing a bit like I would say like a fighting game where you're doing a combo of certain buttons to unlock parts of the field. It's a guaranteed goal, and that bastard Brian's just joined the call.
How you doing, Brian?
What's up?
Okay, how you doing? Where's your face? What's going on? We don't want this generic work picture.
You know what? It's I had a rough night. I don't want to be showing my face to all the minions.
There's no reason I've invited you on. No, sorry, Brian. We're just talking. We've been talking. Alan and Pes Monkey have been talking about the day in Glasgow and stuff, and we were playing, and we're just getting on to like the online and stuff. But if you want to cut across me, go for it, mate, because we've been talking for about half an hour or so. So. Oh
wait, have you guys been recording this?
Yeah, we can't wait on you. People have got lives.
Oh, motherfucker! My bad.
Big entrance for you here, Brian.
What's that?
It's a big entrance for you.
Yeah, you're stealing our thunder now. You're pissed all over us now, Brian.
What did I miss exactly? Give me a rehash.
Well, the first topic was Brian is a prick.
Great. I'm disappointed I missed that topic.
No, we were talking. I asked Alan and Pes Monkey to talk about, the day when they played at Glasgow and what they thought the demo and to what they've played. Is the difference? And like they were saying, there isn't really much of a difference. And just talk about that, really. So hit it up, mate, if you want to talk.
No, what I was going to say was, I know, Chris, you and I were talking. We got this idea to do kind of this podcast because, normally when I'm podcasting with people about PES or footy games, it's usually like-minded people that have the same idea as me. So you never get kind of both sides. And I know with Alan and PES Monkey that, they've had more enjoyment with PES than maybe you and I have over the past few years, Chris.
Yeah.
So it's great just to get like different perspectives, hear different sides. So I thought, okay, these are two guys who are constantly on the forums who have a different view of PES than I have. It'd be great to get a podcast going and you just get to hear different things, different angles. So that's the reason I thought this would have been a great idea to do. Now, if you would have fucking waited for me, then I would be able to get caught up on this shit.
We should have waited, Brian. We should have waited.
But for me, can you guys hear me all right? Because I don't have I'm just using the mic from my laptop.
Yes.
Oh, I hear you fine, Brian.
All right, you fucking wankers.
Even the
So for me, I was actually, just to give you a quick overview, I was actually pleasantly surprised with the demo in terms of multiplayer. Like there's about 5 people in America who play PES. So I was able to, with Matt and Devin, Ezio, I was able to, we were able to connect and actually play online, same assist settings, everything. And the matches were really fun. I actually had more fun playing them online than I had playing FIFA 18 online or playing the World Cup mode in FIFA, because we had played a bunch of those guys got the game. We had played that online, and this was a lot of fun. The more you play it, the more you kind of figure out little intricacies of the game, like the R2 dribble. I don't know how many times Alan probably mentioned that already.
No, I was waiting for you.
Oh, he's waiting for me. Beautiful. But overall, the multiplayer was fun playing with friends, and I really enjoyed it. I played the AI, and I know I'm not going to play Master League. It's just the AI for me, they need to do something. Tactically, it's not as rigid as previous years, but there's just, you play the AI on top player. They're kind of passive. You play the AI on Superstar, and it's constantly like one-touch passes from them. And I just feel like for me to be able to delve deep into Master League and play the computer in the future with Pes, they really need to hit the AI, because I can't see myself playing Master League with what I played in this demo, but I can see myself playing online with friends. So it's kind of a double-edged sword for me. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
You kind of, to be honest, Brian, you've sort of picked up on what we were kind of discussing. Certainly with regards to online play, whereby it feels as though there's a lot of flexibility there within the game this year as to how you wish to play. Right. So you saying that you're able to play with like-minded players and have a blast with it, we were kind of more or less touching on that ourselves just shortly before you joined. So there seems to be a consistency of thought there. You know, certainly with regards to the AI, I mean, I think what me and Pes Monkey have said is this demo is not great for it, just on a time standpoint as well. I do take note of what you say with regards to the AI, and I do believe it does need a focus. I don't think this is the greatest showing of the AI. Again, I'll go back to the match length being a big part of that. I am seeing some patterns. I guess I can only caveat it a little bit by saying, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, I'm not, there's no joking about here. I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be getting PES 2019. And I'm going to be playing it. Right. So I'll find out through play. But I do know, when we will talk about, any issues that we've picked up on. But I do know that with the AI. What I will say is, I'm not sure what Pes Monkey's thoughts are. When I was able to play the 10-minute matches at the event, it was a more enjoyable experience in that kind of 10-minute environment as opposed to the 5-minute one. In fact, indeed, to kind of just slightly touch on R2 button briefly, I have used AI play just to focus purely on just practicing things, and a lot of it has been that close control. What can I do with the game at the moment? Because, the jury's out. What I will say to folk is, just as a recommendation, is, and we've discussed this as well, Brian, before we came on the podcast, camera is key to this game. It's key to all football games these days. We're in that 16:9 era and have been for a decade. And I honestly think as soon as we moved into that 16:9 aspect ratio, football games started to feel a bit easier. So for me, bringing the camera down, zooming it in, and I think you used a good word, Brian, actually, when we were discussing it over Twitter, a nice congested feel. Now, it is, people will say, no, well, this is the same game, but it is a different perspective, and I do fully agree with you when you say that. There is a nice congested feel, and it does translate onto the online game as well. And again, it's exhibition level AI at the moment. I'll see how it goes in competition level. Also, what I've done is, and I don't know if you have done similar, I just set both teams to just standard conditions. So I'm just more or less going straight into the match, just so that I can see how players play when they're on condition, because it's actually a wee thing. I mean, everybody knows it, but Adam actually said to me, he's like that. I actually hear a lot of the complaints about AI, but sometimes I do say to people, just try it with both teams just on standard condition. That way, you'll just you'll get to see how it plays if everybody's on form. Although it's not realistic, then maybe you bump it back to random. You will see differences. And I have had games when I've put it to random condition. It's like, this is piss easy. But then I'm not really fully aware of the comms playing 6 players off form or whatever. But yeah, points noted definitely with regards to your overall take on the AI. It has to be a focus, and I certainly hope it will be. I can maybe touch on that a little bit later as well, just with regards to the future.
Okay.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, I think for me as well, as the biggest cynic probably out of all 4 of us, even myself and Brian, obviously, have talked about loads of times about the game. And I've like I said before, I've borne nearly 50 episodes of the podcast talking about Pes and my dislikes for the game. I think obviously, better than I do, Alan, and stuff. And I don't want you saying stuff that you don't need to say, but I always just feel like the feedback stuff, it's not Adam and Asim's fault. Unfortunately, they're the guys who get it in the neck, and they've got it from me in the past. Do they actually believe, or can you say that it actually is going to change at some point? Like that stuff. Like I've mentioned it a few times before you come on, Brian, but the keepers, I still don't think are right. I think they're quite automated, and when you get in the box, especially online, it's pretty much a goal when you get in the box. Like the slide goal rule goals are there. They only seem to make great saves when it's outside the box. When they're in the box, they seem to fall to pieces. Like I feel as if the keepers are automated, whereas the other 20 players on the pitch are individual players. If that makes sense, with individual traits. The keepers, I don't think the stats make a difference from what I've played so far. I know Neuer and De Gea and people like that and Courtois and that may have something to say about that when I play it properly. But I just get a feeling that there's that many mistakes in the keepers. It's not true. But it's not taking me away from playing the game. I'm loving the game, actually. I'm trying my hardest to defend so no one actually has a shot on me, because I'm trying to mask the fact that I'm enjoying the game. I love the weight of the players. I love the passing. I love everything. Now put it to manual. It's opened it up to me, but it's just like I say, Alan, don't give too much away if you can. I don't want you doing that, but I just feel as if the feedback sometimes, I always go on about it. I feel like I'm hitting my head against a brick wall sometimes with the guys. Not with them, but with Konami.
No, I'll happily comment on that. With my conversations with both Asim and specifically Adam, I'll give an example here of from the day actually in Glasgow, and it was just me and Asim having a kind of conversation about it, and he was mentioning one of the guys there takes a bit of time out, and he actually goes and writes his own documents his own feedback, and he said to me, he goes, "That's actually really good stuff. I present that." Now, I think it's worth being mindful that it is a company. There's going to be people pulling in different directions at different stages. What I will say, and I speak to the wider community here, it can be very easy to kind of make Adam the scapegoat. That move to Japan has had an impact. Yeah, it has had an impact on certain decisions and in the direction that the game's going. Again, with regards to feedback, I think I think I tried to say this while we're active in the forums. Unfortunately we don't see it all, but but certainly from what I've got from the conversations it's not that there's this huge majority that are pulling it this other way, that they want this super fast game. There's just different requests, and it's not a case of them always kind of going with this hidden majority or whatever. It's just that there is a balancing act there, and what I would say, I would open it up. Not just to touch on it very briefly, it was actually something last year, and it did lead to a ban for me on EvilWeb when I actually said, and it followed a conversation with Adam, he was like that, I'd like to know people's thoughts on a fouling system, and I actually tried to present that. I was like that, listen, I can do this and I can document it, and I could do similar to what this other guy that was present at the event has apparently been doing. I'll present something. And it's not to say that they're lost for ideas. That's them kind of saying, what do the players think? What do the users think about fouls now? They didn't, I think the case was they didn't just want to just flick a switch and increase fouls because they felt as though maybe it was going to impact balance at a play, or maybe their systems weren't quite in place. I think they're kind of thinking a little bit outside the box almost, and there is a little bit of handover there. So I think there's different ways. Certainly we can all, when it comes to the end of the day, I think a lot of the Twitter interaction, it can be misread as like customer service. And, there is an element of that, definitely. But, they're not going to come on and say, yeah, that's shite, isn't it? They're going to say, listen, I take on board your point. Yeah. And they'll try and collate it.
But here's
that's what I would say about the feedback. Sorry?
Here's the comment on that after. Go on, Brian. You go on.
Oh my God! It's you. It's the monkey. I see you. You look like fucking Dennis Bergkamp. You old fuck.
I'm better looking than Dennis Bergkamp.
Well, no. What I wanted to say is we only see the English speaking feedback. We have no idea what South America's feeding back, what Asia's feeding back, what Africa's feeding. Like, we have no idea what the higher ups in Japan, what kind of feedback they're getting from other parts of the country or other parts of the world. So we're looking at it from the lens of, kind of a European centric, feedback base. And you have no idea, people in Asia may want a faster game. People in South America want might like X, Y, and Z. And so we just, that's where the whole feedback thing, it's tough to gauge. All I know is I've seen the stuff that a sim has sent back. And it's like, if you went back and listened to all our Footy United podcast and all the shit we complained about that used to be in PES, that should be back in PES, those feedback documents, 99% of them have all the stuff that we were moaning and groaning about and beating like a dead horse for years. So they know, like, they have the information. Whether they want to, whether Japan wants to do anything with it is entirely up to them. That's pretty much how I've been made to understood how everything's going down. So
it's a good point, Brian. Sorry to interject here just quickly. It is a very good point about the kind of global nature of this game. And the fact is, maybe, it's like you say in Asia, they want a faster game. Maybe they're not satisfied with it still nonetheless. Maybe they've got their own issues about, although you've made it faster, we still want to see X, Y, and Z, which might actually correlate with what a European audience would want in some regards as well. And there is it's a world game. If you sat that, we've probably all watched the City Arsenal game there. Later on, you could maybe stick on a South American match, totally different. Not completely different. They're playing football, but there is just maybe a different tempo. There's a little bit more emphasis. You're certainly in Brazil and stuff like that. There's a little bit more. Come on, shows a bit of Joga Bonito and stuff like that. You go to Africa, different kind of Japan, Asia, different sort of pace to the game and stuff like that. So I guess sometimes feedback comes from what surrounds people. The English Premier League, La Liga, the big leagues in Europe do have a lot of reach, but people still, do pay attention to their own domestic game and even maybe how they play it in their circles, and it will be different from us. And I think it can make it a bit of a jumble, and it's about just trying to find that sweet spot. And what I would just say is this year it seems as though there's been little nods to everybody. It feels like that anyway.
Yeah. Wait, Dennis, I want to hear from Dennis Bergkamp. Bergkamp, can you please speak?
Yes, Brian, thank you. Now, I'm just going to come back to Chris. I mean, your experience with the keepers is, well, you're saying they're letting you down in some kind of way, or they're not. I mean, I'll probably sound like a bit of a dick, but that's not my experience. I've experienced. Get off. And this is the problem. I think we're sort of where we think feedback. It's this all-encompassing thing that as soon as they get feedback, they're going to be able to go in and do something with the code and churn something out that everybody's going to be happy with. That, I mean, you've played it a lot long. You three have played it longer than I have. I've only played it last night and then today, but obviously at the event as well. I've not been once let down by the keepers and thought, oh, that's kind of broken. That's shouldn't have happened. That's kind of something where that's a cheap and easy goal. I don't know whether that's anything to do with how individuals play the game differently, because everybody playing the game with a controller in their hands is going to play it differently.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
It's that complex now that, there's too many sort of systems going on in the game. It's multi-layered. The days where we could just all pick it up and it would be 8-direction control and, the inputs were sort of, on or off. That's kind of, it's moved on a bit from it. I've felt the keepers have actually been pretty solid. That was one of my, because another kid messaged me on Twitter and said, what they like. That was one of the things I put in that little sort of early thoughts page that I put up on my Twitter feed. That I thought the keepers were pretty solid, I think.
I think the complaint for the keepers lies in one-on-one, that they should be coming out faster. The anticipation should be better, and also when closing down angles from certain shots, it seems like they're closer to their goal line and not out a little bit farther to kind of close down that angle in terms of realistic positioning. So
sorry, Brian. Online, You know, if your keepers are charging out online, guys just chip you.
I was going to say, I saw like today.
Right. Now, is that the case? Then they should make chipping like they did back in the. And I wanted to get to shooting, by the way. So
I want to get into all of it because I
want to get it. Yeah, let's stop fucking jacking off and let's just get into every facet of gameplay. Let's just do it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
I like this point on the keepers, though. I will say this. I like this discussion on the keepers. If I could just quickly say, I can see both sides here, but I think Chris and yourself, Brian, make a very good point with regards to some of the mistakes that they're making. And that is, there is some positioning, there is that kind of awareness, and certainly coming off the line in 1v1s. I would always say, right, well, I do a lot of manual keeper control, as Pes Monkey found out. But
yeah,
I'll also take on board what Pes Monkey's saying, that bringing keepers out, then it results in a chip. And you do, and I don't know, but you do wonder, is there a design choice there? And so much like that. Well, we don't want to make it one-on-ones become just like it's a guarantee, it's a chip and a goal. So, I don't know if there is a design choice there. What I'll also say is, and I'll just leave it until I've got the game in my hands, a lot of things. And that's not me kind of checking out of making a comment. I do think there is an issue when I'm playing in the demo with the keepers in that regard. I just wonder if it will be something that's just been given, just given that subtle tweak in the final release, and you go, actually, this is all right now, or it's better. But I really do take both sides here, but I would probably find myself slightly erring on the side with yourself, with Chris and yourself, Brian, there, and that is something. It's something just.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What is it that So, I'll play it up later on. So what am I looking out for? Because I'm missing it. I'm feeling my keepers are pretty solid, and I'm
I don't play. I'm not a very big counterattacking oriented style of player, so I don't get those one-on-ones a lot. So that once again, it's kind of the user experience where I'm not looking to rush forward as fast as possible and score. All these breakaways and get one-on-one with keepers. I'm more of a possession style of player. I try to break teams down. Even when I'm playing online, that's just my style. So the keepers don't necessarily, I'm seeing videos people are posting about the one-on-ones and some of the player positioning. To be honest, I'm more in Pes Monkey's view where they're not bothered. They're not bothering me. Like, there's nothing where I'm like, wow, that was really bad from the keeper. But I think it's part of that user experience where the style of play that I have, where I don't get a lot of those breakaways in one-on-one. So I'm not seeing those maybe mistakes or flaws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, mine is, don't get me wrong, probably out of the four of us, I'm probably by the sounds of it the worst of the four of us. But now bear in mind, Brian, that Pes Monkey's already said he's undefeated online in about 20 games, whatever he's played. So he is the man by the sounds of it. So
that's total gospel. That I'm not.
No, but for me, it's not. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not playing a high line. I'm not playing stupid defending where you are literally going to get rinsed this year because there isn't much of a catch-up bug, which is great. And it quite rightly shouldn't be. Mbappe should not be getting caught up by a Phil Jones or, them two dogs who play for my team. But it's when they're around the edge of the box. So you've got Griezmann there. I've had it happen to me a few times with France. So Griezmann's a great little player, little dinking player, like a Messi. You'll go 2 or 3 quick 1-2s. The defenders step out. It creates a hole behind every single time because the AI just automatically goes to the nearest man. So it just creates a big hole in your defense.
Right, I got you.
Just go through the middle. I'm talking the edge of the box. I'm not talking about where they've run from the halfway line or they've run 35 yards out. And fair enough. But in most games in real life, if someone's one-on with a keeper, unless the keeper pulls off the old Schmeichel saves for like we used to with United or whatever, then they're not going to do it. Like Kasper Schmeichel did one against us yesterday on Friday. Lukaku should have scored and he jumped at his feet from 6 yards and the ball went over the box. We thought he was offside, but he should have scored. But you don't see them enough in Pes. They don't always go in. Maybe 8 times out of 10 they will go in real life, but sometimes there is that chance that the keeper's going to save it or you're going to fluff it or you're going to, and it's always the same goal where it just trickles in under the keeper and that might be me seeing it and trying to see what I want to see. I might just be looking for that to go, right, there it is again. It's made the same mistake since 2012. I don't know. It could be me. I'm enjoying the game, and I might be being over analytical, just waiting for that mistake because we've been burnt, or I feel I've been burnt so many times. And also, it could be the fact that I'm fucking shit at Pes these days. But, you know, it could be. I do agree with Pes Bunky and what you said, Brian. And Alan said this. There's something there, but it may just be me seeing it. And I need, you know, it might just be the fact that I'm not that good anymore at Pes like he used to be. And I was never great, but.
Yeah. I mean, what I would say there is, I mean, it's like I say, I do use a lot of manual keeper. But I'm even getting little issues with manual keeper that I wasn't getting with PES 2018, for example. I really felt as though I'd mastered manual keepers in PES 2018. And some of that was just a triangle, then a quick change, and then I was making the dive. It's not really working this time out in one-on-ones. I was getting a lot of joy with that in PES 2018. Now, where I would take the point as well is if somebody was to kind of counter that and say, yeah, but I want the AI doing more of it. It's, you know, I'll say, I actually will agree with them and say, do you know what, you're probably right. If you rush the keeper, maybe you just want, maybe it's a wee tweak they need to make with the pace of keepers, you know.
Yeah.
Just that, even a slight stats override if you want, just like keepers are maybe a wee bit quicker on that rush, for example. Just to try and balance it out and make one-on-ones, you know, a properly engaging thing where it's not like, oh, here we fucking go. It's like, you know, I don't actually know what's going to happen here. So, you know, I would encourage folk, you know, just you know, try and spend some time with manual keeper as well, either in the demo or the final release. It is actually a tool in the box, but I would always take, you know, on board the point that it's not. There's so much in these games over the years I don't use that others swear by. So not everybody's not going to know everything when it comes to controls, or it's not going to feel intuitive to certain people, certain control methods. But that's where I would agree. And with Chris, actually, it's just like at the end of the day, regardless of your play style, if you're seeing it and it is a keeper thing, it's different. You know, it's different if it's something that maybe, you know, somebody's fundamentally doing something wrong with the gameplay and they're not making the necessary adjustment. But if it's a keeper thing, the fact is, Chris has seen it, it exists. It's like, okay, let's try and stamp it out and let's hopefully get the trickle down where everybody gets a nice unified experience and consistent experience from the keepers as a result.
Yeah, good point. It's a great point.
Yeah. Great point. Yep. Yeah, just because I'm not seeing it doesn't mean it's not there. And that's the point I was just trying to make. The keepers aren't really affecting me because of my style of play, but it doesn't mean that there's not something that needs to be improved. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And obviously, I played a lot of FIFA over the last couple of years. I played pro clubs, literally the whole of this year. But we've got a team in my family. It's the only time I play FIFA now because it does me fucking head in Ultimate Team and all the other crap. It's just can't get into it like I used to. But it might be that I might just be playing the FIFA way of rush. But I try and play it more laboured, more trying to make the team attack me to create the holes like we're doing real life, the game of chess. I feel you can do that on PES. And I said to Alan, Brian, before the game, PES, I've actually played FIFA because my daughter's got FIFA 19 beta. So I've been playing that for a couple of days as a comparison. My God, the camera is so far zoomed out, I might as well use a fucking blimp because that right wing, left wing, depending on which way is so far out, it's ridiculous. I know I can change it, but I've enjoyed it. The presentation's great. Like you've got the demo stuff and you can have an FA Cup final. So I did Liverpool v United on, I don't think it was the top one. I don't know if it's world class or something, but I got beat anyway, 2-1, which I wasn't happy with. Liverpool.
I'll be back in a sec.
Oh, yes, go for it. Liverpool beat me. But what was great about St. Alan was the presentation, Brian, was absolutely fucking awesome. You know, the whole thing, because it's like Alan was saying before, and he's right, before we got on air, that's the sort of stuff like the Champions League needs to be on FIFA because they do it right, don't they, presentation. And that side of it, Konami never going to get right. But when I went back to playing PES, it's night and day again. And even last year's demo, I thought PES demo was fucking awesome compared to FIFA. But I ended up playing FIFA because I didn't see faults in it that I did in PES, even though that isn't, it's not always right with FIFA. There is mistakes there and shit stuff that goes on. But I felt that playing it, I was impressed with it, but it's so fast. It's just like wing, over the top, wing.
That's where, you know, I'm really looking forward to trying FIFA because of the tactical system. They basically took Pez's tactical system and just injected it with HGH steroids. Like they just made it 10 times better. From an offline perspective, the one thing with FIFA, and why I played 3 seasons of career mode in FIFA 18, and primarily because Matt's sliders were really good. Yeah. And they gave me something I could do offline. The thing with FIFA is that there's this hesitation there. So if you're playing the AI, at least I only played the AI with Matt sliders. I didn't even play it out of the box. But when I was playing the AI in career mode, there was hesitation there. So if I went to cut off a passing lane that I saw the AI was about to hit a pass, they went and passed it somewhere else. Like there was hesitation there. Whereas I found with Pez last year that everything was there was no hesitation. Everything was predetermined. It was like, I'm going to make this pass no matter what. And so that's been my real issue with Pez offline, has just been the one touch passing, how there seems to be no real hesitation. That's like, boom, boom, this is what we're going to do no matter what. And I just can't get into it. And so when I look at FIFA and Pez in terms of last year, not this year, the reason I was able to deal with FIFA a little bit more is I'm looking at both games now, and I know both games are flawed. No matter what, both games are flawed. Yeah. So it for me, it comes down to which game's flaws can I tolerate more? And between FIFA 18 and Pez 2018, I was able to tolerate FIFA's flaws more just because there's something about Pez's AI when playing them that I can't get into it. I just can't. I don't know what it is, but it's just I can't explain it. I just cannot get into it for the life of me. So kudos to you guys who can, but I just can't.
Did you try it on Legendary, Brian?
FIFA?
Pez.
Which one? Pez?
Yeah.
No, I didn't try it on Legendary. I was playing, so I would play top player, I'd play superstar, and I would find top player, the stats mattered a little bit more playing the AI, but I just found the defense from the AI was too passive. They didn't offer enough of a challenge over time. And then superstar, it just felt like stats didn't matter, and it was one touch pass. Everything seemed predetermined. And I couldn't enjoy it. I for whatever reason, it just.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I'm not saying I play on Legendary, so don't get that idea. I've played a few matches on it. You unlock it if you win a few on Superstar, right? And it was around about the time when Mark was going on about all the positional issues and stuff. So I played a few matches against the AI on Legendary, and it's brutal. I mean, they just the one flaw that there is with it is they don't make a mistake. Right. But in terms of you turn the ball over, they're in, and there's 9 times out of 10 they score it. They're that clinical, but it's a more realistic, pressured feeling playing against that difficulty. I think that should be the sort of superstar difficulty, but they just need to build in a little bit less sort of
more realism.
More realism, but they just don't make a mistake. If you turn the ball over in your final third, if they tackle you, they win the tackle, a couple of passes, they're very direct, and it feels real in how direct they are. In sort of top player superstar, the AI maybe turn back when you think they should be going in on goal, and they'll sort of play it around a bit just to keep possession. I mean, that wasn't my experience against the AI with the longer matches in Glasgow. I played a couple of games against Liverpool, and they did sort of build up pressure, and it felt a bit more organically. But that was on a longer match than we're having with the demo at the minute. But the AI on Legendary was really good positionally. They closed you down. One of the things I always moaned about last year on the lower difficulties, the AI didn't close down the ball carrier enough. So
they were passive.
Yeah, you didn't get that feeling that the player on the ball was being pressured. But when you play it on Legendary, they pressure you everywhere, and it feels really natural. The only thing is they just don't make a mistake. So if you make one error, a misplaced pass, or they tackle you, you try and turn away from them holding possession, they'll get in and they score. So it was like ridiculously difficult, if you know what I mean. It just became too hard. But that's the kind of, I don't have any doubt that they can, if any of us are sort of saying, oh, they don't know how to program the AI to be challenging, that, they do.
But I want to add the realism. You got to add the stats to it on those high levels. Like I know Adam told me Superstar is there to challenge you. And so I know he's wanting to make sure Japan knows, hey, you got to make sure stats matter on Superstar, because really they really don't, when playing the AI, I mean, the AI player stats don't really matter on Superstar, because the game at that level is meant to just challenge you. Whereas I mentioned, if you play on top player, the stats from the AI do stand out better. The problem is, once again, just the passiveness on the defensive side is not really there on top player. I mean, it's too prevalent on top player. They're not aggressive enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can I just speak to the AI there? I completely echo what Brian says, and it follows similar conversations with Adam in relation to feedback again. And top player is the best. I mean, there's probably a better way to put it, but it's the fairest in so much that players play to abilities. And I agree with Brian, and is like that kind of has there's just something about it where it's like they know they've got another skill level or two to go up now. So there is a little bit. It's just defensively the AI is just not quite on point, but everything else seems to be there, if you know what I mean. Right. So what they really want to do is, and I'll be pragmatic. I'll say, right, okay, it's fair enough. Maybe you'll have some stats override in Superstar and Legend difficulty. I'll take, because at the end of the day, it's an AI, and if it is just meant to design a challenge for you, okay, sometimes I won't mind it. It would just be good if they just get a little bit more balance, where they bring in more of what's present and what's driving a lot of the top player experience to complement the challenge that exists in these higher difficulties. I think that is a potential, it's easier said than done, but that's, again, I'm being pragmatic. It's just like, I would maybe take that then, because I noticed that a lot with playing VAI more or less exclusively within my club. I had a lot of fun with it. See, even playing professional and top player, especially within my club, there was a nice challenge there. Now, a lot of that was down to the my club environment, because I was playing against users, squads, users, tactics, players who are maybe being over-leveled, there's a lot of random factors, a lot of variables were involved in playing against AI within my club. But when you went to Superstar Weaker, it was actually quite fun. But then you hit Superstar Medium, Superstar Stronger. It was like, do you know what? This is actually falling apart a little bit for me here. And I'll tell you what, once I got to Legend difficulty, very briefly in my club, it's like, this is jokes. Do you know what I mean? It is just a video game challenge now. Which, again, I mean, I think there's still space for that. God knows, if you get to a zen-like state with these games, eventually you do just I'm just going to play against this video game challenge because it's going to, I know it's not real, but it's going to test me. I just don't want that to be too much of a thing in what are meant to be the traditional skill level, shall we say then. And Superstar should be the ultimate challenge of playing against an AI that is playing to the fullest of its abilities, and then just making the necessary tweaks in the defensive side of it, like Brian says, so that it's just like, you know what, this isn't easy, but they're playing fair.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. And I do think one thing I'd love to see this year for Konami's sake more than anything, and like I say, I've been one of the biggest critics, is when they actually patch the game and they do patch the gameplay, we get patch notes. Any other game, you get proper patch notes. Like if people are saying these problems with the keeper, acknowledge it. I don't want to see the fact that they've released a fucking pair of Puma football boots or a fucking Adidas Tango football and all this other shit that comes with these updates. I want to see it. And then, and at the end, there may be some tweaks to the gameplay. No, just tell us. If you can't tweak it until the next year, like the old PS2 days, where once you got that demo in the old PS2 magazines, that was the game you were getting when it come on release. And that's the whole year. And if they can't do that, they haven't got the resources to do that, then I would respect them more and say, because everyone's dying out for certain things. And that's where I think, all right, I might pick up on this goalkeeper thing. It may just be me being totally paranoid. Keepers have been a big bugbear with me. I could be being, just looking for a mistake that isn't there. And that's fair enough. And it could just be the fact that I'm shit at the game. But please, no, it could be true. But please, if you're going to patch it, fucking patch it. And tell us, don't hide behind, whatever stadium they've released or whatever. It just frustrates. I think that's what a lot of people like myself and my friends get, is the ones who still play PES, is they want to know that if it's been patched, they can play it. And you get that. We always used to get it on the forums. You know this, Alan, that is the placebo stuff, Evo, Web, PES fan, WEMB, Brian, PES Monkey. Everyone goes, the gameplay is definitely changed. But then you would speak to the guys and like, nothing's happened with the gameplay. Do you know what I mean? So if they're not changing it, then fine. But as someone who, there's going to be faults. The fact that when it comes out, someone's going to go, there's something wrong with this. I don't know, a fucking corner flag's facing the other way or something. And it's a massive campaign to get it, it's just something stupid. But it'll be so focused in that if it isn't changed, it becomes the thing, doesn't it, to complain about PES and that. And that's where, as much as I'd be one of the flag bearers for that and getting frustrated with the feedback stuff, they would do themselves such a favour with the fans and the people who are buying their products, that they are listening. I'm not saying they don't listen. I agree with what you said, Alan, and Brian said the same. You've seen the documents. The guys are doing everything they can. Ask him everything they can to get that game to where they want it, because they're fans at the end of the day, irrespective of what we all think. They're fans to play the game. Adam breathes PES. I've been in his company. He absolutely breathes that game, even before he worked for him. So there's no issue with that. But I just want to believe that the people in Japan are going to do what, not just us, because you're right, there's people around the world don't want that, but that it's as a global thing, it's going to come together. An obvious thing is last year, the fouls. There's fouls are there. There's a bit more fouls this year, which is great. But nobody can tell me that wasn't a coding error. Nobody. Right. And I saw a comment once, Asim put something up about the fouls. Some guy put underneath, I don't want fouls in the game. It ruins the experience. I'm like, what fucking drugs are you smoking to be talking shit like that?
My first online game, I had 6 fouls on me.
No, that's what they're online.
6 times.
Exactly. Online is great because you're playing a human AI.
Right.
Against a CPU AI. That's a fundamental part of football. You can't have football without fouls. And it's like, it wasn't their fault. The firefighting.
It's like, why have David Beckham if I can't fucking use him?
Yeah, that frustrating. In fact,
what's the point?
Alan, now that you're here, right, please, because you are the man when it comes to my club, and I do watch your videos on YouTube. Can you explain to me what my club is about? Because I used to love the MLO in a 2011 PES. I mean, Daniel Emery, that's how we met. Love that game, love the transfer market, everything. I do not understand with my club why you have to have a fixed formation and why you can't change it. If I'm getting dicked 4-0 at half time, which does happen on my club quite a lot, unfortunately, why I can't change or go defensive, or why does it have to be hid behind a manager? I do not understand that game mode other than it's a cash cow. Can you please explain? I'm not putting you on the spot like you're the oracle, but I really struggle to understand the benefit of that game mode.
Okay. Well, for me, I mean, started playing my club about a month before the PES 2018 beta.
Yeah.
My first proper exposure to it. And it was after 6 seasons of Master League on PES 2017, which I loved, by the way. And I know there was issues with the game, but I just loved the experience. My journey with the game, with the team that I'd built, was fantastic. But I knew the beta was on the way, and I thought, I've not played a lot of online football for fucking years. So I thought, right, okay, they've got this My Club mode. I'm going to take a dip into this now. And for that month in the build up to the beta, it was just like, okay, right. So it took a while to get my head around things. But the more I was playing it, the more it was like, do you know what? This is actually a cracking wee mode. It's limited, but it was like an extension almost. I approach my club. Everyone's got their different way of doing it. I touched on it just before we went on here about the various ways you can approach it. But for me, it was like an extension of Master League for me. It was like, right, I'm going to pick the same. It was Benevento. I went, so I'm going to pick Benevento again, and I'm going to build a team. And in that month, I was pretty much reliant on spins and stuff. And like, why have I not got these great players? So when it came to PES 2018, I was right out the gates with it. And for a few months, I was the same. It was just like, why am I not getting black ball players, gold ball players? And then I just had started looking at some forum activity in PES Fan and people talking about gems. And it's like, all right, so there is actually a Master League-esque element to this. I'm going to go and start scouting these players. I'm going to start trying to build my legacy, if you like, within this game mode. I'm not a rank chaser when it comes to my club. It's just like, it's all about my team. How well can I play with my team in this online competitive space? With regards to speak to the formation woes that you have, a lot of that comes down to your three slots. So you have your standard, your defensive, and your offensive. And it is something that is for that game mode. And it does, I can actually appreciate people going, I don't have that flexibility. On the face of it, you don't. But the more that I kind of just accepted that, okay, I've got an attacking formation, a defensive one, and that, standard, defensive, attacking, the more I just worked with it. And the more that games, I don't know, I just felt like a nice environment to play the game in with some restrictions in place. Because to go back to one of my points earlier about one of the online experiences I've had with the 2019 demo, somebody was playing 5 up front. You can't do that in my club. And I think it is in part a design choice to say we don't want people dicking about with formations in our mode in which, microtransactions exist. So we want to put a slightly more, put a wee bit of a leash on things here, and it then becomes about the use of realistic formations and switching them up. When you do get your managers in my club, you can change some player roles. You just don't have the full flexibility. But, for me, I took Gasparini from Atalanta, 3 at the back. But then my defensive manager, I went and got myself a 5 at the back manager. So it's just another way to play the game. So it was like I found myself, it became natural.
Yeah.
And there were some managers within the mode as well that do have fluid formation available. So it is in there. I do take on board people when they kind of come into it and go, why can't I fucking do this? I think there is a design choice there. And it is, you're either going to you can maybe warm to it, or maybe you just won't. It's just like, no, it's not the same as what it's like when I'm playing offline or playing online in other modes. But for me personally, I was able to work with it, and I had a bit of a blast with it. But again, it's all very much caveated with how I'm just generally looking to approach the mode. I don't need to be the best. I don't need to be in the top X% of players in my club. I just want to have a good time with the team I've built. And again, I will say, certainly last year, and I know there's a lot of, when I was on forums, there was people who did play my club and go, oh, this guy's just playing his AI matches. It's like, well, what's wrong with that? I'll play the game how I want to play it. If I get up to top player stronger, I'm finding a nice experience here because I'm not playing against out the box or ed option file presets. I'm playing against somebody else's cloud squad and maybe getting some. I'd actually be fascinated. It's something I meant to ask Adam, and I will try and follow up on it. They talk about cloud match. I do know that they apply the users advanced instructions that they've set. And maybe some of the other switches they've got and stuff like that in place. I'd just be really fascinated to know how much are they pulling, how much are they using of a user's cloud, sort of how much data is getting applied there. Because I did feel as though against AI within my club, it was genuinely pretty fun.
Yeah.
Just not a lot to do, unfortunately, offline, except for just, all right, I'm going to go and jump into, I'm going to have a wee game with the AI. But what I will say, also with regards to my club, is, see, for players, I think we're all like-minded players. If you do go and give it a go this year, don't go star chasing. Don't go top player chasing. Yeah. There is loads of gems in that game. If they still go with the 5 stars regards to team strength, I'd advise everybody, you can find a really good niche within 3-star. And then when you go to 2-star and 1-star, then that's you really going hardcore, try to find white ball gems and bronze ball gems. That is a really, really good environment to play the mode in. And I think a lot of it, and you can keep yourself miles away from, see, the whales, as they're referred to when it comes to microtransactions in games. You've got your whales and your dolphins. You can be a dolphin in that 1-2-star bracket, and everybody else who's spending fortunes and wants to field 5-star strength teams with all black ball players, they can have their own wee space to do it. And that's something that I would always push for while I've got an interest in my club is, if you're going to have microtransactions, just make sure there's a very clear partition so that those guys who want to play a certain way, they've got a bigger game world that they can occupy and meet a lot of like-minded players. And these other guys who want to spend the money, and it is just a thing in gaming now, I'm not completely defeatist to it. I accept it. There is regulations coming in throughout Europe and the like with regards to these microtransactions. And I actually think, just to touch on it briefly, a lot of what they're doing with their pre-order incentives, it seems to be, and even how it seems to be structured this year, it seems as though they're aware of that and they don't want to make it pay to win. People will pay to win, but I just, certainly from what I've seen thus far, what they're presenting about my club, I think, do you know what? I might be able to have a lot of fun in my club again this year.
No, thanks. No, it's good. It's good. It answers the question.
Why don't you get a sip of water, dude? That was like, the most broad my club explanation I've ever experienced, and now I actually understand what my club is.
I do as well.
I never knew.
Is it 5 years of trying to work out what the fucking army done? And
I was like, what the fuck is? I didn't even know that's what my club was about.
MLO always, the Masters League Online always hold a place in my heart. Definitely 2011. That was the one.
And you can play it with that. Honestly, you can play it like a Master League Online. You can do it. It's just about setting. I think a lot with these games, it's just create your own space that you want to occupy within that mode, and you'll find like-minded players. Certainly, with regards to our own little community, where there's 4 of us here, if all 4 of us went in and just gave my club a proper go, we could play non-competitive games. But it's with our squad, it's with our tactics, it's against like-minded players. And I'm not trying to make a pitch for my club here. I'm just telling you my experience of the mode is one in which I've locked myself in a certain way as to how, if I'm going to play it, how I wish to play it. And I can only say, give it a go that way and see how you feel.
No, I'm going to have to. Definitely. Right yourself, Pes Monkey. Thank you, Alan. That was great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got big respect from Alan and how he approaches that mode, because it's not, I tried it in, was it 2017 when it came in?
I think it was 6. Was it not 16? So you're not far off. It's a couple of years.
It's because I'm an old git. My memory's going. But I tried it a bit. It's because it's not a mode I would really go deeply into. But the way Alan explained it in a few of the videos in that last year that he put up on YouTube, it did make sense. And then I sort of tried it a little bit towards the end of it in 2018. It's probably something that I will use this year, just because I think the gameplay itself will lend itself to more of a kind of squad building scenario where you'd come up against, like he says, you come up against guys who just go for the black ball players, and then the game just exploits that they've managed to spin him and they've got them. But for me, you've always got to have restrictions on that kind of thing. Like your question earlier about changing formations and that sort of stuff. If you're in that mode and you come up against online players and, like you say, they've got 5 up front, you're just in for a slog for that game, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I can see why they made the decision to place restrictions on it, and you've just got to work inside those restrictions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably try it this year, a lot more than I have done in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I think the only thing I was a bit worried about was there was something about it's going to be easier to get the bigger teams. Now I remember when I played it in 17, I went all in on it, and my first 2 spins I got Messi and Neymar, and I was like, oh, fuck off, here we go. Because if I've got Messi, I'm making names up now, Messi and Neymar, then people who are far better than me have got the same. And that's what I came up against. If there was a filter, like Alan I'd love that if I could just do a 3-star team, which you sort of, I like to replicate the old Masters League teams, you know, Minanda, Castolo, and all them sort of players, because you've not got great players. You've got to play as a team. And I think if that was the case, if that's what you love about the Masters League Online, is I could go on the transfer market and find absolute gems that might just have one skill trait that I want. And that's all I need, like someone who's got a rocket shot, or someone's got, you know, a turning skill or a feint, or just something like a winger. And I could buy him for next to nothing. But it works within my team, within the structure of my team. And in 2012, they took that away because it was all about the contracts and stuff. So it eliminated a lot of what was good about the Masters League on that line and the simplicity. And then it's this hybrid my club, which I've struggled with, and I have played it. Honestly, Alan, I have played it a lot and just got really frustrated. I love the ball thing. The ball thing's great. It's better than FIFA's Ultimate Team packs and that. It's more rewarding as well. You know, if you do get a black ball player, it's great. But I think it's too frequent that you can literally build your team within the space of a week or so to an absolute superstar team. Or there is challenges like the FIFA, so we can do like a silver or a bronze team, which is great. But again, it's how much you want to spend on it.
Yeah, I mean, see, certainly what I will say is if it's the same 5-star structure, although what I've noted is just see some of the promotional material, they had 7-star scouts, I think, or 7-star agents.
Oh,
so maybe 7 levels this year. Yeah. So if it's 7 levels, then cool. Again, there's more option there as to what level you play. The thing is, it's easy. I mean, it's a wee trick, you know, because there's plenty of gold ball players in the game. There's a fair number of black ball players. And it is easy, Chris, because I was the same. I was the exact same. It was like, oh, gold ball players. All right, I can play all these players now. Go online. It's like, fuck me, this is just really, really annoying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's because you're playing against players who are loaded with the same players. And yes, unless your skill is on point, and unless, you know, and if, you know, and it gets to that kind of level, and this isn't, you know, I don't want to, you know, degrade these kind of players, but some people just like playing the game a certain way. And having these superstars in your team allows you to play that certain way. So I'm going into my club this year and see if I spin a black ball player. It's like, oh, well, fair enough, good.
Yeah.
The thing about the 3-star level is you can field no more than 1 or 2 black ball players in a 3-star squad. And then you really need to get to work and getting some good silvers on there and stuff like that. And you will find it actually, you know what, mate, you know, it'll be interesting this year just to see how the gameplay complements it. But certainly last year, while the game maybe still had some issues and could feel sometimes a little bit one note, I still had a really good time within that little environment within my club.
No, it's great.
So don't get sucked in. It's great landing these players. I mean, I obsessed over trying to get Socrates when the Legends came out. And I know a lot of people, you know, in forums and stuff, it's just like, this is their thing, just fucking Legends and try to get money. I didn't spend any money to land Socrates. I just played a fair bit and I ended up getting him. But I stuck him in a 3-star team.
Yeah.
He was surrounded by bronze players who had leveled up and silver players who had leveled up. And he was just my marquee player in that squad. And it was great. And I will say this as well, for all that they do Legends, it's not just an appearance. Some of the work they do with the Legends is fantastic. It really is. See, with regards to player individuality in that,
yeah,
it really is good. I mean,
that
Diego
was the point
Maradona.
I mean about Beckham is that you if you're going to have Beckham, who's he's known for his crossing and his set pieces. If you're not going to have fouls, then it's almost like a waste. You know what I'm saying? So that's where
true, Brian.
But anyway, I wanted to ask you guys, because I wanted to get into really the nitty gritty of what we played with the demo. We kind of touched on keepers a little bit.
Yep.
What are your guys' thoughts on shooting? Because I actually I do like the shooting and how they've changed it. I have been missing shots more, going wide. You know, hit the post from close range. My only thing with shooting that I think would really, really, really improve the game, and it's a conversation that I had with Adam 2 years ago, and he totally was like, you know what, you're right. and I would love to bring it up to him again, is I feel as though what's missing in the shooting currently in Pes and over the last, and probably this generation, is the sensitivity of the shot bar. And if you go back and you play, Pes 3, Pes 4, Pes 5, or the old, they were winning 11 to me. So the old winning 11 games, there was a sensitivity to the shot bar that made your hands sweat. There was a sensitivity that created that real life tension in your hands when you're holding your dick. I mean, when you're holding the controller. And so
I've got small hands. So.
And I use this example because it's the one that I always remember. I was playing winning 11-7, so Pes 3, and I was down 2-1. It was like the quarterfinals or the semifinals of the World Cup. I was Italy. I was playing Brazil, and I had a striker. I don't know if you guys remember Iaquinta from Italy.
Yeah. Yep.
So he wasn't he wasn't the greatest striker in the world, but he wasn't the worst striker in the world. A lumbering guy, known for his heading and everything. But anyway, he was in the game for me. I was down 2-1. It was pretty much extra time. I created some space down the wings, and I did a low grounded cross. He was at the penalty spot, and he was running in towards the 6. And I hit the shot button. And meanwhile, it's the end of the match. I'm like sweating. I'm like, oh man, like I have to score. I have to figure out a way to score. And I hit a low cross in after I created some space, and it was whipped in, and I hit the shot button. And I noticed right as I saw the power bar that I held the shot button that nanosecond too long. And from the 6-yard spot, he hit the top of the crossbar, and it bounced over, and I lost 2-1. And I was like freaking out, but I was also like, you know what? It was my fault. Like I missed that shot because I don't have a great striker who has great shooting stats. And I held it for that nanosecond too long. And that shooting, that real life tension is, in my opinion, what's missing with Pes in terms of shooting. You get a lot of people that say, oh, shooting it's lifeless, it's soulless. I love the ball physics. I love some of the shots that I've seen, that I've done. I think they've looked really good. They've looked satisfying. But I do feel that there is something that could be added to the shooting in terms of making that power bar more sensitive, how it used to be in the old days, that I think would create that tension. And then you'd mix it in with individuality where, the better strikers of the ball, maybe it's more forgiving for them. So if you have a Ronaldo and he's coming in at the 6-yard box and you hit the shot button and you held it for that half second too long, maybe he hits it right under the crossbar and it bounces in because his shooting stats are so good. So you have that little bit of leeway. But I do think, and I want to know your thoughts on shooting. I like everything. I love the way the ball hits the net. I like the different trajectories that I'm seeing. It really is that sensitivity, though, that I feel that could replicate that real life, tension, late in the match or something of that nature.
I'd like to respond first here.
Yeah, go on.
Brian, you make an absolutely amazing point, mate. You do, you really do. It's such a balanced criticism you've given there. It's almost hard to fault. And not only that, you've came up not with an idea, you've went back to the past to try and better the future there. It's something that I've got my own workaround, and I'll touch on that in a wee second. But what you say there is just a really, really good observation. Just a little mechanical tweak. Do you know what I mean? Just a slight difference. When you press the shot button, there is a different responsiveness to as it were when you press the pass button. But again, you can still work the individuality in there. Cracking idea. Now, for me, I've used advanced shooting for 2 years now. Mm-hmm. That's where I found. See what you use a fantastic example as well, Brian, and that it's just that it's that moment, it's that key moment, and it's almost like a mini game in itself. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Where it's like, I know FIFA. I've not even really investigated it about their shooting, but I don't want multiple buttons and a convoluted mechanic. Just something as simple as you say, how the button responds to you. That's what it should be. Shooting's it is an instinctive thing in real life, but it's also a very telling thing. And that's where I find when I use advanced shooting, which I'm having my struggles with, and I think it might be to do with camera, and maybe keepers are actually pretty good against advanced shooting, it seems, at the moment. I'll see how that goes in the final game. But that's where I get that kind of that demand of composure that you're speaking about. So that's my workaround. Personally, it served me well. I mean, I played my club, and I know 99% of the players I played against in my club are all using basic shooting.
Yeah.
And I never buckled. I was like that. I am using advanced shooting because it's about the feedback. It's about the sensation I get in my chance creation. And in that final execution, advanced shooting gives me something. And the thing about advanced shooting is that I find quite moreish is you do maybe learn, once you learn the basics and you know where you can place it, it becomes a mind game in itself because you'll be clear through and it's no longer just a case of hitting a direction and just parking it away. Your mind starts to go, I want to finesse this, I want to do this with this shot, I want to place it here, I want to place it there, and I can blow it. And that's where I get that kind of sensation that you speak of and that you want to see in that sort of more basic shooting model. So, top man, Brian, you've put it really, really well. And it is something that I'm glad that you said that Adam's kind of picked up on it as well. And hopefully that's something that, it's a point worth labouring in that regard then. That to me is fantastic feedback. Well played.
Like yourself, Pes Monkey?
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with what Brian's saying. I kind of look at it in terms of how the game is sort of developed now and whether that would translate. I always listen to your podcast, Brian, Foot United, and sort of agreed with that much of it. I thought, it were really in depth and really fantastic sort of insight. And then I sort of went, I've got an old PS2, so I go back on them and try and play it and see, what the games were, the essence of the games, and whether or not any of that could be brought forward. And I think I posted on Twitter one of those questions about, when you had Adam on, Brian. It was that podcast you had Adam on. Brian?
Yes.
Is he there?
I'm here. I'm making soup, Iceman. I apologize.
Oh, right. And, you were asking, I think one of the questions I asked is, what do they look at in any of those old games as a sort of...
right, I remember that. Yeah.
You remember, yeah? So
yeah.
I think that was my question. And that was one of the things, yeah, it'd be great. I'd love to see that sort of brought back into the game. For me, it's about error. And I would like to see them sort of manage to build in a little bit more error.
But I think the shot sensitivity would give that error feedback. You know what I'm saying?
It would. Yeah. But hang on, let me finish. So yeah, you've got to think, how would that translate now in both sort of game arenas? So if I'm online, and there's some serious players who play online, is it going to be just a matter of time before they just learn the sensitivity of the button? So if it's only just the sensitivity of the short bar, guys will learn that and time it. I always thought it'd be a good idea to bring in, there was a thing that the BBC Sport put up about the sort of the likelihood of a goal being scored from certain areas within the box. Can't remember, is it called, what's it? It's got a nickname, OG or G something.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I can't remember what the acronym is. It's a percentage, and it's like I've got the picture somewhere. It's a graph of how likely a goal is for being scored inside the box. And I would like to see them build something, obviously we're talking about the future now, build that kind of thing in where you would accept maybe that you wouldn't score a goal from that point, or it would be sort of maybe a 10% chance you'd score a goal, or a 15% chance, you know what I mean, where there was error built in, but players would accept it. I just think if it's something that's sensitive natured in terms of just button presses, guys are going to learn it. and learn it quick.
No, but because the pressure sensitivity is going to also depend on how close you are from goal, how far away. So it's going to be how much do you have to load? Are you going to under hit it? I mean, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same as you had in the PS2 days, and I never learned it because of the sensitivity. Once you're in those tense, those you're getting pressed, you're getting, somebody's on top of you. When you're in those tense moments, it's hard to replicate hitting that sensitivity at the perfect time all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it.
No, I totally agree. I just think in the newer games, the sensitivity comes where you have to kind of almost pause with your player. So it's a different kind of mechanic. I played a ton online in 2018, and you get in the box. A lot of those shots were just on target. In the demo, I've missed quite a few. They've gone over the bar. It's where you just get that bit of composure in the box before you press the button. So it's about how you position your player, how you
right. And I agree with that. I think that can all be tied in.
Totally agree.
I think that's the point I would make, is because I think what's happening here, gents, is you've both got fantastic ideas, and quite honestly, I think a lot of what you're saying, Pes Monkey, is something that's definitely worth exploring and borrows from data and analysis from the real sport. However, I would also take on board Brian's idea of returning maybe to that sensitivity also playing a part. It can all. I think there's space for that all to come together. So you're both making great points here.
Yeah.
No, I think as well. I may have answered my own question before, and I was saying about the keepers. I'm thinking back to the games I've played, and it may not be the keepers as such. It may be like, I'm trying to think now whether I've really seen Griezmann miss a shot wide, or when there's certain times when I've played the demo, I know that's going to be a goal before they've even shot. I just know it's going to be a goal. And I've not seen many of the old Pes, oh my God moments where like someone has a shot, it's the post, the keeper pulls off an absolute ridiculous contextual save from nowhere that you've not seen, or it hits someone on the head and it's the bar, or them sort of things. It's too automated at the moment. I've not, and for all it's worth, and for all the razzmatazz of FIFA does have them stupid moments in the game now where I saw it last night. Lukaku, he scored a lot of goals for United last year, but I got I'm a season ticket holder. Some fucking games he's there, you're thinking, how the fuck has he missed that from 2 yards or whatever? But you've got that error in there, and I think because it may be more stat based with Pes, with the Griezmanns and I don't know, I mean Mbappe, I suppose, or whoever's up for. Like I've been playing with Milan a lot, and their strikers. I'm not really a big fan of Milan. I don't really know the teams. Like obviously, I know Adam's a massive AC Milan fan, but I don't know the team properly, other than the keeper. And I've enjoyed it playing with them more than like playing with an Argentina or a Barcelona or that, because you know what you're getting. But I always do when I play these demos and stuff. But
I love my boy is Kessie on AC Milan. He's a beast.
There's a guy in midfield. I don't know if it's the same guy. The black guy, he's a top midfielder. Just like
that's Kessie.
Yaya Toure guy. I really like him. Really good player. But again, Perisic as well for Inter Milan. He's good on it. But maybe it's because they're too accurate. That's maybe it isn't the keepers. I might have answered my own question. Listen to what you guys have said. I think you've all hit the nail on the head, really, because somewhere there's just a switch or a fine line or something just needs moving up or something needs moving down, and that'll be it. Because
I agree with you, but I think it's gradual every year. I don't think they want to make drastic changes. I mean, I played a game earlier. I've used Liverpool a lot in the online matches, and I was in with Salah. And I should have scored. I was like, I don't know, 7 yards out. I managed to do a little intricate thing. And I pressed it too lightly, and the keeper saved it. So it's not as sort of edge of your seat stuff as what Brian's describing from the PES 5, PES 6, that kind of thing. It's not. I mean, I'm not even trying to say it's anywhere near that kind of thing. But it is there. To be fair to the game this year, directly compared to last year, there's more error in the shooting. So I mean, that's just
totally agree with that.
You can say that as quite.
There's more error for sure.
It's quite a comfortable fact. So they've addressed it in a way, because there's more error. If they didn't think it was an issue or a problem that they needed to work on or develop, it wouldn't be that sort of difference or that sort of change. I'm all for giving them credit where they're making those, changes. I mean, it's like you would go in the forums and it would be, oh, this is still shit, this is still shit, this is still shit, this is still shit. And guys might have points about things not being how they want them to be, but I'm all for, look, give the team a bit of credit where they need it, because it can't be easy developing these things year on year on year and sort of making all the changes that people are demanding. But where it is different, then let's say it is different. It's maybe not as perfect as we want it to be, but at the minute, playing the demo, playing the thing in Glasgow, it were different. I was missing chances that I would have scored last year.
Absolutely, fair point.
It probably still needs to ramp up and go up a level, but it's maybe step 2 out of 10 at the minute. I don't know, but I think going forward, the sort of looking to, I would say 2019 sort of the last of what we've got at the minute as a sort of legacy kind of code type of thing. I think they're going to be moving forward into quite uncharted territory. Now, I don't know that's just me guessing, but I think.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Monkey. I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you're right.
Do you notice that I feel shooting is more satisfying from a visual feedback perspective on those camera angles we talked about, as opposed to wide cam?
No, absolutely, 100%, Brian. The thing about these the thing about the closer camera and the lower camera is you do get to see a little bit more of the detail, and I hope we do touch on the R2 very soon as well with regards to that.
Go for it.
But just to speak to Brian's point there, absolutely. I'm going to champion this, folks. Get the camera lower, get it a bit closer. Borderline, not quite. You're still going to get a wide view. You can see across the pitch nicely, but the angles that you see in dynamic wide, it will make the game easier. Tighten it up for yourself, and certainly one of the plus points is just as Brian says, just that visual feedback on shooting. You really, really do see it. And that's why I think shooting has absolutely improved, and that's where I would take Pes Monkey's point there. Absolutely, they certainly have made, I think, quite a sizable step forward when you consider some of the sclaffed efforts from crosses and the like. And there's certainly improvements there. However, I think Chris makes a good point. I do notice that as well. Just a little bit when it gets to a certain range, it seems like there's that arrowed shot likelihood is very, very high. So there is, while there's improvements, we're making observations, and I think they are valid observations. We'll see how it pans out. But yeah, Brian, you're spot on there. There is a nice visual feedback to the shooting, especially from that closer camera angle.
Yeah. What are you? I'm on wide 022. You're 023, correct?
I actually started using pitch side 214 a wee bit last night. Very similar again, though. When you start, as soon as you bring that height down and the zoom right down, then for me at the moment, it's just about trying to tweak the angle. Just how, and a lot is to do because I'm using advanced shooting. How much of the goal face do I want to see? But then I know that I kind of concede what I can see behind me. Right. A lot of people say it's a bug and it's an error and stuff, but it's not. It's just when you start shifting the angle, it's trying to present either goalmouth more to you. So it is therefore going to sacrifice what you can see immediately behind you. But yeah, 214 pitch side I think I'm using. But you can, I'll
try that one out for sure.
I'll try it as well because I just keep it dynamic wide. I think.
It's a terrible camera. That's the only thing.
That camera angle sucks, Chris.
Oh, fuck all he is.
The thing about dynamic wide is, Chris, and I'll concede some ground there. With regards to dynamic wide, it probably is the best camera for somebody who's coming into the game. Yeah. Because it is a good camera. I think it's a great learning tool, without question, because you can get to see more of the pitch. I think for me, it is just a legacy thing since they brought in pitch side in PES 2012, was it? It was like, actually, this is for me. And now there is more flexibility and customization there. I find myself very set there. don't get me wrong, I'll maybe boost the height up a little bit in online play. I did in PES 2018. I'm hoping that's not the case because of what we want to talk about, the R2 control.
Very good, very good.
So a clumsy segue, but a segue nonetheless.
Beautiful, beautiful. You've done this before, Alan. Very good.
Did you know about R2 before I mentioned it? I tweeted something out, and then you had said, "Oh, I made a video on it." So you might have known it before I did. And then Asim was like, "Oh, we kind of talked about dribbling." I'm like, "No." I'm like, okay, maybe you said dribbling was improved, but no one specifically said we made changes to the R2 dribbling, because ever since, like, I had a couple people DM me. I had Charles texted me, and he said, "What's this stuff you're talking about R2? I have to try it out." He's like, I never even thought about, because R2 hasn't been touched for so long, that he's like, I never even thought about testing it out. And it's changed so much where it's actually like the number one aspect of the game, besides another aspect that I'll talk about, but it really is like almost a game changer for me. Just because of how fluid. Yeah, sure, there's still clunky aspects of getting out of it. But overall, I mean, and once again, I don't know, you would be able to speak to this better in terms of how it reacts with the AI, because I'm just not playing the AI. But when I'm playing people online, when I'm playing my friends online, and I have a Dybala or a skilled dribbler, and I hold the R2, and this time when you hold R2 and you point it at the player who's kind of pressing you or coming to defend you, it's not clunky. It actually, it actually reminds me of the old slow dribble back in the old school PES. Like when you had three different dribbles, you had the really slow dribble, then you had kind of the R2 normal sprint, and then you had R1, which was like you push the ball further ahead kind of sprint. So you had a bunch of different dribbles. This reminds me of that kind of slow dribble where you're dribbling slowly at a player who's rushing at you, and then you double tap the sprint button. You have to time it right. Doesn't always work if you don't time it right, but you double tap, the sprint button on a 45-degree angle, and use however angle that defender's coming at you, use their momentum against them, and then you can kind of push the ball into space. And I don't think a lot of people realize that is in the game. You know what I mean?
Yep. What I'll say is, with regards to R2, what you've mentioned there is absolutely one possibility with the R2. The key to it is, for me, is, and I agree with you. See, the thing is, it's had a use, although it's not been touched, which I do. I think I would probably agree with. It's not been touched. Everybody knows. With me, it was like, I fucking hate these R2 animations, and I just used it as a stop and play button. That's the way Adam refers to it, stop and play. So it was more used as a kind of like, I'm setting myself and then I'm going to explode out of it. I just felt it was a little bit restrictive in previous years, and there's so much, if you held it down just for that a second too long or so, just delayed the prolonged the press, you found yourself in this lock, and it was unnatural. It just wasn't. It just didn't look nice in transition. This year, it's got so much use. It really, really has. See, just feathering it as you turn, it keeps, it's just, the turn is a little bit tighter, albeit a little bit slower, but then you can move into a nicer exit. Even see, just using the standard dribble, touching no button and just changing direction out of that, you can generate just sharper, quick little movements in midfield. But certainly, as well, I've noticed is it can help with the shielding mechanic. It's interesting that he's actually have all said that he's like Kessié. I personally also like Kessié in the demo, and using R2 with him is a different experience to how it feels with Dybala. So what I would say is a lot of the individuality is in there as well, because Kessié, using it with Kessié to kind of just shift, just kind of hold players off, he's not going to have great explosive power necessarily out of that move, but in using it, you can actually use it properly, hold players off and shield the ball properly. So they've done work on it, and I think we were talking about it, Brian. It was like, they've not talked this up enough. And I'll say this as friends of both Asim and Adam, they are cracking lads to me, good friends. I I'm not going to even say it's a misstep. I'm just going to say, guys, listen, you've really, and I'm not going to say that they had a lack of awareness of it. I think maybe for guys like us, we're going to, we're dedicated to football games in general. I'm not even going to say Pes. We're dedicated to football games in general. We experiment, we try to find things out. And we've, certainly with regards to me and Brian and how we've exchanged about it, we're finding stuff here, and it's like, man, this is something that should be highlighted in videos.
Right.
Totally. Showing the game off and saying, listen, see this mechanic, here's the possibilities with it this year. Because when I'm looking at some forum conversation, and I'm looking, it is more of a luck these days. It's like, I just wish sometimes it's like, guys, get your ass on this R2 button, because you'll start to see, and not only that, I'm finding the comms, certainly in VAI play, the comms kind of been a little bit responsive to it, as if it's like, I know what you're trying to do here, and it's not weak to it. That's where you'll find that they'll be like, hold on, he's fucking holding the ball up, and then you'll have two players pressing you. So it's a good way to win free kicks as well.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's a game. It's like Brian says, it changes the game. Get practicing, folks. That's all I can say.
And I got in my first game where I got 6 fouls on me online. I was playing some random guy. He was France. I was Milan, and I noticed a lot of my fouls came when I would do light touches of the R2 when he was around me, and he would foul me.
Exactly. Yep.
So
you can use it as a lure. Not only can you use it to shield, you can use it as that lure. I will say to people, my channel's called Kurdstar, and I've got a video called R2ing in tunes, because I like play some background music while I'm playing, and I'm using it exclusively. I pretty much play, I think it's 2 games, Brian, back to back, and all I'm doing is just saying, right, here's R2, and you'll see the different animations, how a little feather of it, the player doesn't do that doesn't lock into the sidestep. He'll just do that little pause movement where he's kind of just shapes himself differently around the ball. It can be used as, like he's kind of breaking, but that little animation is the kind of tell to say, right, you're in that position, you can now drag back, or you can burst forward, or it's absolutely amazing for doing direction changes.
As long as they don't fuck up the defending. As long as they don't make defending automated like last year and keep it how it is this year, otherwise they could end up neutering it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my
yeah. I will point listeners out to that video.
What'd you say, Burkamp?
that'll never get tired, Brian. Now on that, I mean, I don't use it so much as a sort of dribble mechanic, more as a kind of control mechanic. And if you're going to play online, it's essential that you learn and use that, because it buys you time, it buys you space. You can actually, players will learn your movement when you control the ball when you play online. And a lot of the complaints about pressure whores, I don't like the phrase, but if the sort of guys will just like press you all over the pitch you play online.
Right.
A lot of that comes from just the way the ball moves in pairs, where you don't do anything other than pass, get the ball, turn, pass, get the ball, turn. So players who play like that, sort of very kind of rigidly, they're easy to work out, and sort of better players know where you're going to turn, and they'll just track that little lane off, and they nick the ball off you all the time. And that's the kind of where the pressure horse thing comes from. The R2 changes that direction and just allows you to move. I always just used it as a little tap, as a control thing last year. It's better this year. It's miles better. But I would get the ball, press it, turn, and it allowed you to turn in a way that they didn't predict, or it was this the mechanic. The AI for their team just didn't follow it, and I think that's been built on, like Alan says, definitely. They've done work on that this year. They've not talked about it much, but they've definitely improved it this year. And I think if you're going to play online at all, my club or any other mode,
it works great, as you mentioned, Monkey. It works great for those people that just want to press you over and over again, pick somebody and press you. Yeah. I mean, just slow down. double tap sprint on a 45-degree angle, boom, burst right by him. If you have the player, if you're a controller of the player to do it, and then they'll think, maybe they'll think twice next time about, trying to pressure you over and over again.
Yeah.
Because that happened in my match. I was playing one random guy online, and it was a different France match. And he just kept trying to double and triple press me over and over again. And once I got used to the R2 and bursting away, I was just running circles around the guy. Yeah. And he, for whatever reason, he just kept wanting to do it. And I was like, that's fine with me. I'm just going to keep, going right into the space that you're giving me, basically.
It's the only way to do it. I did it by accident, I think, against Alan, one of the matches. I think I was into Milan. Perisic did it, and you pressed me with 3 players. And I kind of didn't even think I did it by design. I just sort of did it.
No, I'm the same as you. I figured it out by accident.
Yeah. It's essential. It's an essential mechanic this year, definitely.
I'll also say, folks, a well-timed press of it as you receive a pass and the direction, you'll get a nice sweep. And it's all about, the timing of the press has to be perfect. And again, it doesn't need to be a long press, just a quick press and movement as you receive the pass. You can get some sweet first touches of it. I've got a very brief video on my channel, actually 10 seconds long, where it was a clearance that I'd made, and it came to Ronnie Lopez, and he's just kind of killed it and done a really sharp turn, held off the guy that was kind of coming to him. He's just laid off a lovely pass, and it was all R2. It was all just a nice time press R2, and a wee shift of the ball. I'm holding him off, and I've got the ball away. It is a genuine counter. I think the possibilities there. And I take Brian's point about his concerns about hopefully they don't dampen, how impactful it can be. It can be a pace dictator. It truly can. It's worth really, really, spamming it for a few games against the AI and just identifying the possibilities. And the other thing is, you will see different results from different players. Personally, when I really unearthed it, I was playing as Argentina, and it wasn't necessarily Messi who I discovered the joy of it with. It was Banega.
Really?
Suddenly Banega.
Mine was Dybala. I'm like, wait a second. I held R2, but I was dribbling at the guy, and it never used to be like that. It used to be like a crawl, like a crab crawl almost. And he was actually slow dribbling at the guy, but at like a decent slow dribble pace. And I'm like, wait a second, this is new. I don't remember this. Yeah. And that's how I kind of figured it out.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, it was when using Banega and giving it wee feather touches as I was turning with him in a tight situation in midfield, and just kind of weaving my way past 2 players, just rolling it back, exit move, turn, pressing it as I'm turning again, and just squirming through and just getting clear. And I wasn't relying on what I was using beforehand. I just need to get set to do an R1 thing to burst away. It was like, hold on, I'm actually using this just to slow the game down, maintain possession, and just get that little angle for a pass. Right. But that's the diversity there, Brian. You know what I mean? You've given one fantastic example with Dybala and where his strengths will lie with it. But when a player like Banega as a centre midfielder, there's uses there too. And you can also use it as a defender if you've kind of got it stuck in the corner, shielding the ball, maybe even win a wee cheap free kick.
Yeah, no, it's good. Now, I've got about 10 minutes, and then I'm actually recording another podcast, being the podcast whore that I am.
What the fuck? We didn't even talk about passing, defending.
Well, I'm sorry. We're going to have to do another one, Brian, and you're going to have to get here on time. You know what I mean?
Fucking wanker, Chris.
Hey, Brian, I have interest, though. Look, I did pick this up when I went to New York, though. Look. I mean,
fuck New York. They're my rival town.
Okay, sorry. No, is there anything you guys want to throw in there for a quick 10 minutes? I've definitely got to jump off about half 8. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that.
So all right, since you're it's your podcast and you're screwing us over on time. All right, let's talk about, I guess, if everybody, I told all these people that I'd mentioned their stuff on the podcast. They had all these questions and comments. We're gonna have to do another one then.
Oh no, we could definitely do another one whenever you want. You've been great tonight. I've loved it.
So it really has.
All right, if everyone just like picks kind of like 2 or 3 what their favorite aspects of the demo are, only because there's a couple things I didn't get to talk about. for me, I see people. I understand I see people saying, free kicks are overpowered. I haven't gotten a lot of them where I can shoot on goal, but I just see people's videos. Maybe that's the case. And maybe that's where something like a PS2 style pressure sensitive power bar would help with that. Maybe. But the other free kicks where you're trying to whip crosses into the box, and guys actually now make runs into the box now, which is awesome. And some of the headers that I've connected on have been great. And I see people saying, oh, it's overpowered. I mean, I've defended a lot of them as well. I don't want them to lose that, because I feel like that overpowered term gets thrown around and then shit gets neutered, and then it just fucks up the game. And so I love the direct free kicks, like whipping balls in the box and players running on. Some of the heading animations from Icardi were awesome. I scored an awesome goal with Icardi from a free kick that I whipped into the box, and it just felt really good, especially from the camera angle that Alan and I were speaking about. And then I guess for me, the pass assist one, it's not. I actually like it. Could it have a little bit more error as always? Sure. Do I wish there was 2 settings, manual and pass assist one, which is kind of a semi-assist. The only thing with passing that I find is it seems that on pass assist one, every pass on the ground seems to go at the same speed. And it's like one of the things I really like about FIFA, the problem is they screwed up on the implementation, is the low driven pass, because people online on FIFA spam it and there's no resistance there's no proper first touch trapping animation. So you can spam a driven pass in FIFA to a guy who's 10 yards away just to get the ball quick to him, and he'll perfectly trap it. Where they should have had trapping errors so people couldn't first touch errors so people couldn't spam that online. That's my one gripe with FIFA. But in PES, I feel like sometimes that's missing, where I could push the ball into space real quickly if I wanted to, and kind of take some more space without letting the defensive players to get back into better positioning. But then when I hit the pass button, all the passes on PA1 just seem to go at the same speed. And I just wish there was a low driven pass that I could give a little bit more oomph to it, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, it's contextual, Brian.
Hey. What about you, Alan?
Doesn't mean it's right.
Well, it's contextual.
Yeah.
What, it's contextual that every fucking pass moves at the same speed? God damn it.
It doesn't move. Every pass doesn't move at the same speed. It's contextual. So when the space is in front and you play it and the space is there, you'll get a harder pass.
Not for me. I don't know what the fuck you're smoking, monkey.
Well, you need to learn how to play the game then, Brock.
Can I go through my 3?
Semantics.
You need to get off FIFA and Madden and play PES.
Yeah.
Can I go through my 3 quickly there?
Yeah, go for it, Alan.
Okay. R2. So that's one of my big takeaways. Certainly first touch as well. I'm pleased to see that there's a little bit of error and variety. I suppose variety in general, just a greater variety in general is also a takeaway. And finally, and I'm going to just slip in 2 in this third, ball physics and just how the visuals look with the camera that I'm using. Those are my 3 big takeaways that I'm seeing as big positives in the game.
Good stuff. What about yourself, Pes Monkey?
I don't know if I've probably got more than 3, but the thing I really, really like is last year you couldn't really open up space but on the side of the pitch by switching it quickly. And sort of like, if you get your opponent to overcommit to you on one side and you switch it quickly, there's real space on the opposite side of the pitch now. I mean, I've had games where I've just played little sort of intricate passing, played it out wide and got an overlap and runner into space and created tons of chances like that. That was limited last year. I think that's brilliant this year. You can really sort of you can use the pitch the way it's kind of meant to be used, if you like. I'm always a big thing about, they sort of play it realistically. That's definitely been ramped up this year. And if you can recognise the time where you need to play it like that, you can get in. I've scored some goals where I've just got in, and he's got, the guy online's got just no chance to get anywhere near you if you play it right. That's the big standout for me. That you can open up areas on the pitch where you couldn't do that last year, and that's a game changer. It's brilliant.
Oh, good stuff. Now, I think for me is, having played a bit of FIFA as well, is the graphics and the lighting is fucking outstanding. When Coutinho takes a corner at the new camp and that, like, I saw them videos when they were demoing and previewing the game with the trailers, and you're thinking, there's no way. I mean, it's not totally rendered that way, but it looks absolutely outstanding. And I think the weight of the players is brilliant. Absolutely love the fact that there's a proper feel to the individuality of the players now, which I think has been, I've always been a strong point of Pes, and it's been missing recently. But FIFA can't touch it at all. With all the bells and whistles FIFA has, it's nowhere near that level. And I absolutely love it. And I do think the passing, the defending actually makes a difference now, which is the first time I can actually feel that what I'm doing, the players have got a weight behind them, and the defending is actually, I can actually make a difference. Whereas before, I felt I had no control over anything in the defense. It was more a case of letting animations finish for like a Messi or the absolute bellends online who want to do Rabonas and rainbow flicks, taking the piss out of you. You've got to wait for that animation to finish before you can get a foot in and stuff. It just pissed me off. But I do think there's so much good about this Pes. I just hope that come retail, and obviously we'll definitely have to do another podcast again, because like I say, I've cut you guys off short tonight. We've clicked in at 2.5 hours, and I know that we've not even touched or scratched the surface on a lot of things we wanted to talk about. So, but yeah, they're the ones really for me. So,
well, if Alan didn't go on like a 45-minute rant about my club, we might have been able to get all that other shit in.
And obviously, you working off West Coast time as well, not East Coast. We may have got that as well, Brian. But that's...
yeah, if you'd have turned up half an hour earlier, Brian.
Touche. Now, please promote everything you've got that you want on the podcast. So, Alan, you go first, mate. Get your YouTube channel, Twitter on, whatever you want. Get people talking to you about Pes and stuff.
Okay, so my YouTube channel that I'm kind of I've had for a few years is just called Curdstar. I may well be changing the name to the Pes Casual because it will be probably pretty much focused on Pes. Regards Twitter, it's at @placid_casual75. I did have my account protected for a wee while there. I've opened it up again. So, if you want to follow me, follow my thoughts. And generally, honestly, most of my Twitter stuff might be related to Pes as well, to be honest. I kind of taken a step back from social media in general. And yeah, Curdstar75, if you want to send me an invite on PSN, I'd be more than happy to, play matches against all comers, as it were. Hopefully to kind of maybe show my own skills, but certainly it's always a learning experience, isn't it? So that'll be mine.
Good stuff. How about yourself, Pes Monkey?
Nah, just look me up on Twitter, Pes Monkey. I think it's I don't even know what the handle is. It's at Pes Monkey.
Yes.
T-shirts available soon, and there's a link there to me YouTube. I haven't put any 2019 videos on my YouTube yet, but when I do, Brian needs to have a look at them to learn how to play the game. Exactly.
Very good. What about yourself, Brian? Get the Footy United podcast promoted. Go for it, mate.
Besides the fact that Pes Monkey looks like... Never mind. I'm not going to get... I had something. Fuck it. Anyway, so I'm going to promote my Make AI Great Again hats. They're about $3.99. Pes fans get free shipping. And so if you want to find me on Twitter, it's I don't even know my fucking handle. Shit.
It's B-Man, isn't it? B-Man.
Something at something. Anyway. No, I mean I don't know. People listening, just find me on Twitter. Search for B-Man.
Let me get it now. We've got to get that right. Hold on a minute.
I don't fucking know what it is.
Right, it's at Brian_footy
Yes, that's what it
tag
is.
name is B-Man, yeah. So, yeah, that's the one. And you've got that weird, it's like a horror film, isn't it, that face you've got on your podcast, on your Twitter page. Yeah. Anyway, right, no, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. And sorry for being a flaky fuck and cutting us short, but I'm going to get hooked by the missus at the best of times because I didn't think we'd be rocking for this long. So it's been great. Thank you, Alan.
It's been a pleasure. No, thank you very much. Very constructive. Good to hear from you.
Okay, so thanks, Pes Monkey. And obviously, as always, thanks, Brian.
There you go.
Top guy. We'll do this again. I'll message you. Obviously, we've got a little group going on Twitter anyway. I'll message and we'll sort this out again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good.
And I need you on anyway because my next podcast, my 50th episode. So even if I go down as a blaze of glory, at least I can say I've done 50 podcasts in just over a year. So I do want you on again. It's been great fun. So
how many people look at your podcast?
A lot more when you guys come on. So I think when you were on last time, Brian, we had about 1,000 listeners.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's across SoundCloud, iTunes, because iTunes have started releasing the analytics now. Because you never used to know how many listeners. Stitcher, it goes all over the world, doesn't it? And obviously you've got people who listen. And then what I'm doing with this one before you come on, before we go, is I'm sending to Alan, who's going to possibly do something with the podcast as well to promote it within some of the, I won't say what it is, but Alan, but you're going to do the business and what you need. So if you want any of the stuff, Brian, the file sending, then I'll send it to you if you want to put it on the Foot United website or whatever. So
sure. Yeah, send it in my way. We haven't even done anything with that website. I'll just tweet it out.
All right, cool. Right, guys. I want to thank everyone as always. Steve-O wasn't here because he's a flaky fucker as always. So episode 49 in the bag. We're going to go with 50 in a few weeks, or maybe even a week or a few weeks. I've been Chris. See you later.
Cheers.